Well, hello and welcome back. It is Wednesday afternoon. This is kind of a crazy week. Had a holiday at the beginning of the week, and then a snow day, and back to work today. And we're wondering if the weather's going to be stable, how it's going to be the rest of the week. What we got going on today, you can see it's the inaugural Hammer Away Scramble. Who knows what's going to happen? It could all blow up on my face. It's possible. It is totally possible, but let's hope not, right? Welcome back on Hammer Away. Thank you for being here today, checking out everything that's happening. We've got some things that I experienced over the weekend and the last few days, and then something that that happened today that made me think of something real quick to chat about today as well. Did it have like an open chat kind of a thing too? Chat in questions if you got anything you want to ask, got ideas of things that you want me to do on the show. Be sure to hit that subscribe button if you like what's going on here. Be sure and do that for everybody else out there that you check out and you really love too, because there's some great information out there. It doesn't hurt to do a subscription, right? And then hit the notification, that way you know what's happening. So what we will be talking about today is a little bit about, like, I got a message today from Russ Ballard. I'm hopefully down the line here pretty soon. We'll have a chat with Russ Ballard. I'll be getting a hold of Chips Enough later on this afternoon to firm that up for the end of the month. And also, you can see over here, I've got some stuff. We do have some unboxing to do today. And we also have some stuff. I had a pickup at a thrift store yesterday. Went to a thrift store, and it's kind of funny because you ever have one of those moments where you're like, oh, I'm going to go somewhere. And they're like, wait, I can do this same thing here. So that's kind of what happened yesterday. It's kind of cool. And then a little bit of this. I'm hoping I want to get into some of that soon, especially for Go Game Go. But this, I'll be talking about this for everybody here, and also a little bit for Go Game Go as well. So we'll see you on Go Game Go again later tonight. Saboteur, what's up? Good afternoon. Always, if I can have an unboxing, I will. I love doing it. I love doing it. Finished up. I'm going to show this very quickly. That's my script that I finished up. I'm going to be getting a little bit of help from my friend, who I believe she lives over in Ohio, for my new intro that's going to be coming. So I'm looking forward to that. Also looking forward to things that I might learn. If anybody's out there is doing something where you're learning something new, and you're maybe like myself, maybe you're not so young. Not that I'm not young, but you know, like I was back there picking out a few discs to show, and I'm like, oh, my back. Oh, I don't even know. I mean, I have an inkling on what happened. I've been moving things about, but all the same, it was fine all day long. And all of a sudden I'm back there. I'm like, ooh. So anyway, looking forward to doing some graphic things like this. I bought these on Amazon, and I think I showed them to you when they came in, but I bought them so that I could customize them. So do you remember this? This is something I'm getting ready to measure it out. These are coasters. Well, this isn't my this isn't my style. The ballet, it's not my style, but that's okay. I mean, it's still good stuff. It's still reputable. Otherwise, millions of people would not be interested in going to the ballet. So, but I just bought these thinking I'm just going to make my own labels, and I'll put them right over the top. So cool stuff, especially if I want to make an Iron Maiden set or something like that. So neat coasters. So I'll be working with that. Also, I bought me some new paints. This is another thing. As I'm getting closer to the next phase of what I'm going to do, I'm going to get into painting. And I thought, how cool. I'm going to start with metallics. I have a neighbor who lives close by, and she and I had a discussion the other day about my wanting to paint, and she paints, and she's like, just start working on it, just do it, and that is what it's about. And I thought, well, how much fun could I have with metallic paints? I think it's a pretty bitchin' idea. So I bought a set on Amazon. Obviously, that's where America shops now. The world shops there, I guess. I don't know. It's going to get a little ridiculous after a while, but comes with brushes, and look at all those paints. So everything in there is metallic. So I have a series of paintings that I've thought about doing for quite a while. So hopefully I can get into that soon. Russ Ballard, I heard from Russ Ballard today, so hopefully that will pan out pretty quickly. Wrote him a quick note back, ever so quickly, and so hopefully that'll happen. I also just wanted to make sure that for all of you metalheads out there, I remember years ago, I was thumbing through a guitar magazine, and I'm sure I could find this ad out there somewhere. And if I can, I'll tell you what. Let me do this real quick. Let me see if I can find this. It was like a guitar player magazine ad, or a guitar magazine ad, with Paul Gilbert. And I had no idea at the time who Paul Gilbert was. Let me see if I can find this in images. And yep, there it is. He's sitting down to a bowl of cereal. Let me see if I can save this. And then I can bring it in here. Let's do this. And I have so many images from this last one. I'm like, oh my God, I've got too much. So I saw this ad about Paul Gilbert. Again, didn't know who he was. And in it, it's got a little blurb on the side that says, hey, check out Paul Gilbert in Racer X on Shrapnel Records. So I was like, yeah. So I went ahead, and I don't remember if I ordered it. I've got it on vinyl back here, but I just grabbed the CD because I was back there doing it. And let me see if I can bring this in here. Because that's our music for pulling things in. See if I can get it in the front here. And I'd never heard of Racer X. Paul, where did he go? Oh, monkeys. Boy, that drives me bananas. When you're thinking, oh, this will be quick. Not quick. I do this to you guys too much. Quick actions, convert image. Actual size, convert. There we go. Now let's give it another shot, shall we? Yeah, check this out. I love this ad. There's no way I'm going to be able to read all this because it's too dang teeny tiny. But anyway, you'll notice that he's got guitars in the bowl, and he's dressed up like a football player with a guitar for Wheaties. He's got a guitar in the sink. I love it. And but this talks about this looks like it's later. So maybe they used the same ad again, because this shows Mr. Big down there. If you notice above the Ibanez logo, it's got the Mr. Big album cover, which I quickly showed last week, as a matter of fact. But the other one had Racer X on it, and it was pretty cool. So I went ahead and bought this album, Street Lethal, and immediately, the first time I heard it, I said, I told my dad. I remember telling my dad doesn't know a lot about the music I listen to, but he would always listen to me talk about it. Still does. And I've got a story about that I'll bring up in relation to Iron Maiden, which is my band. That's my band. Um, hey, Miss So, what's up? Saboteur is here, and Miss So is here as well. Um, hopefully Blake might be here too. Be great to see him. So Racer X, this is Street Lethal, their first album. Second Heat is just as good. Superheroes, another album. They just continuously put out great music, but those first two were really raw and just amazing. So Jeff Martin does the lead vocals on here. Now Jeff Martin is also a drummer. So he appeared on the second Badlands album. So if you haven't gotten into Badlands, check them out. So they had I think it was, isn't it Voodoo Highway was their second album, and Jeff Martin was the drummer on that. Years later, I would see Yngwie Malmsteen nearby at a club, and opening was George Lynch. Well, I noticed the drummer was doing a lot of background singing, and I had noticed this guy behind me had a Racer X shirt on, and I'm like, Racer X, I'm like, oh, that's really cool. I mean, and he was a younger guy, so I'm like, race, wow. Well, then I figured it out. This drummer was singing a lot along with the lead singer. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm watching Jeff Martin right there on stage because I was in the front row. And it was just amazing. I'm like, whoop, there you go. Right there. There you go. I need a drink. I didn't have a chance to get a brew out today, so we'll have to do that next time. So anyway, Racer X, check them out. That's the first time that I ever heard Moon Age Daydream, because it is not on this one, but it's on their second album. This album has Frenzy, which is a smoking guitar intro by Paul, and then the title track Street Lethal, Into the Night, which just burns. It chugs right along. Blowing Up the Radio, Hotter Than Fire. There's not a clunker in the bunch here. On the Loose, Loud and Clear, YRO, which is another guitar solo piece, and Dangerous Love, Getaway, and Rocket. So the next album had great songs on it, including Hammer Away. Interesting. So Russ Ballard, like I say, Russ Ballard got a hold of me today real quick, and it got me thinking about all the songs that I don't know if I've ever, I know I may have mentioned them on here before, but let's just start with this, because this wasn't my introduction to Russ Ballard's music. This came out in 1984. And so my induction into his songs was like a decade sooner, when I heard Argent doing Hold Your Head Up. He co-wrote that tune. Also, then in 1978, something else would happen. But I became aware of him, truly Russ Ballard himself, when this album came out, when Voices came out. And I didn't have the album for a while, but Voices is an amazing song, and they played it on the radio station. So be sure to check out Russ Ballard, Voices, title track to this album. I'm sorry, not title track, but it's the popular track from this self-titled album. That's when I became aware of Russ Ballard himself as a writer and a musician. But it was in the 70s, in the late 70s, when this came out. And on it, the big, huge hit, I've mentioned it on here before, was New York Groove. So New York Groove is a Russ Ballard tune. That isn't the only thing that Russ did that touched the life of Kiss. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, God Gave Rock and Roll to You, which was a tune that he did earlier on in his band, but then it appeared on Revenge. Also, like I say, it appeared in Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. So check out God Gave Rock and Roll to You. That is another Russ Ballard tune. The other place that I found this out too, on Zebop. by Santana. Winning was their big hit off of here. They had a few popular tunes on this, but Winning was a big one. It opens up with Changes, which was written by Cat Stevens and recorded by Cat Stevens. Winning is on here also. Searchin' is another great tune on here. The Sensitive Kind is another great one off of here. It's just the whole album is very, very good. So yeah, just it's great. Z-Bop is the name of the album. If you've not heard it, you've not seen it. You have to realize I was hit. I was kind of blindsided today with what I thought people were going to know, and they didn't. And these are like people my age. So I'm like, wait, what? So I'll explain that in a minute. Another spot that I didn't know about for a long while. It was done by Head East, also done by Rainbow, also done by Impellitteri with Graham Bonnet as well. Graham Bonnet in Rainbow on here. Since You've Been Gone is a Russ Ballard tune. So be sure to check out Since You've Been Gone. Also, like I say, done by Impellitteri as well, when Graham Bonnet was in Impellitteri. Then the last one I'll show you is the album I just showed you not long ago, Abominag by Uriah Heep. And remember, On the Rebound is the track. On the Rebound. It's very pop. It was very different for Uriah Heep, but it was in that same vein that popped them right into the kind of the mainstream again. So people were checking them out. That's where I ended up on their subsequent record after that, which I liked this one a little bit better, but there's some great songs on Head First. So be sure and check out Head First. That was the tour that I saw them open the whole show. It was it's kind of funny because it was Uriah Heep who was on tour for Head First, the album after Abominag, and it was 1983. So then came on Quiet Riot, who was on tour for Metal Health. So that was killer. And then Def Leppard on tour for Pyromania. Pretty awesome. So it was a great show. I loved it. And it was completely amazing. And I bought a t-shirt back in the day when you could buy a t-shirt from every band because they weren't gouging you for one shirt. That kind of drives me nuts when I got to walk up to a booth and go, which one thing do I buy? Because it's just astronomical. Did I say it was astronomical? Oh, and did you notice what I'm wearing today? It's not music, but doggone it, these guys rocked against, you see there? Got that. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm talking about. That was a painful game for me to listen to, or to which I'm not even going there. So anyway, that was painful. I was about ready to shut it off. I was about ready to shut off the sound because I couldn't take how much the commentators were just like sleeping with the Cowboys. I'm just like, you guys, this is gross. I'm like, Jones must have just thrown a party for everybody, and everybody was high on the Cowboys, and everybody was stoned on the Cowboys, and everybody's like, the Cowboys going to win. Cowboys got it. Cowboys. And then, yeehaw, yippee-ki-yay. I think you know the rest of it. I don't need to say it. So anyway, I'm going to do a quick unboxing here because I thought, oh, what is this? Sometimes, you order things and you're like, what did I get? So then I was like, I can't figure it out. But I did something over the weekend, over the long weekend, should I say. And I got some things organized. So then that means that we watched a video, and I saw a video of a woman who was, the Chiefs. There you go. Go Chiefs. There you go. Saboteur. Yeah. But when it comes down to it, you know who I'm rooting for. But I do have family in KC, so they've been doing a great job. I'm just glad to see Mahomes kind of back on track. That's got to be rough when it's tough when people are riding the big, you're riding the high horse. Not like he was, being super arrogant about it. But I mean, he's in commercials, he's here, he's there, he's everywhere, and then not playing good ball. You're like, oh, some days we're just not all that, but it's good to see him back on track and the team back on track and winning. So that's cool. Always good. Always good. I felt badly for the players on the Cowboys. I'm one of those guys that I'm just like, that sucks to lose, especially if everybody's thinking you're going to win. And then you get stomped. And then we took Love out a little early, I thought, and they started charging back. I'm like, no. We don't do that. So anyway, we saw this video about uncluttering your kitchen. Does anybody deal with clutter? I deal with clutter. I'm going to undo some of it today after this scramble. So I kind of uncluttered the kitchen, got rid of some stuff, took all the stuff off the refrigerator, just kind of, you got to breathe it out and get rid of some of that stuff. If it's an issue, if it's not an issue, you don't have to worry about it. But in my case, it was an issue. So I kind of wanted to clear it out and get a little, what I call European, to where it's minimalistic. Right. So I did that. And so then today I was doing a few dishes, getting ready to move on. And I was like, oh, here's a box. I'll unbox it. And I'm like getting things together. And I realized, how about this? How rock and roll is this? Well, my cat thinks it is. There you go. The big box of Sheba Pate. Gotta love it. Look at that kitty. So anyway, that's my first unboxing today. I was like, oh, cool. I'll open this box on the show. I'm like, no, I won't, because it's cat food. And I'm like, yes, I will, because it's cat food. Next, we got the bag, right? So, you know what? There's something else I wanted to show you guys too. Over the weekend, I noticed on YouTube. Hey, YouTube. I noticed on YouTube that there's some new documentaries out there that you may want to check out. Some of them may not be as new as I think that they are, but one I started, the other one I finished. It's about April Wine. I've been a big April Wine fan for years. I came in late, although when I was a kid, I knew those songs, like You Could Have Been a Lady. And they didn't push a lot of that on the show about how some of those things came over. And I knew that song. And Ooh, What a Night, which is a great, great tune. It was a song that I was going to do in a band of mine not long ago. I don't know if we can do it in my band now, but we're going to see. We're going to see about that. And I took some screenshots of this, and let's see how they look. Let me see a screenshot. Some of these things I remember last time I was like, where's that screenshot? So we just lost Miles Kennedy. Miles Kennedy. We did not lose Miles Kennedy. No, we did not. He's still out there rocking. Okay. Sorry about that. Miles Goodwin, we just lost not long ago. And I do have an article pulled up here that'll kind of give us a little bit of, background on it too. But this is called Rock and Roll is a Vicious Game. It's the story of April Wine, and Miles Goodwin. So it talks about all the stuff. So let me see if I can get these pulled up here, and do that one, and we'll do that one. So I've been looking for the book. Somebody has it on Amazon listed for $1,200. as my character in a short university film uh, once said, I don't know what that's all about. So I have to see if I can find this book, because I really would like to read it. And let me see if I can bring these photos up for you. And let's see here. Yep, there we go. But it was a great documentary. I just was really taken in by it. Here we go. There you go. The story of April Wine and Miles Goodwin. It's about an hour and a half long. This is your opening screen, and then it keeps going back to this screen, which that's on the computer screen. It starts bringing everything up. That's where they have different scenes. You'll notice over by the intercom on the right-hand side, Miles Goodwin there in the frame. You'll see that's the front of his book, which looks like this. So just between you and me is the book, a memoir, the true story behind one of Canada's most legendary bands. So it is really interesting to just know about their career. I've told people for years that April Wine was around for so many years prior to them ever hitting the States and becoming, huge, and me buying their records. Here it is, based on the national best-selling book, Just Between You and Me, by Miles Goodwin. So I'm going to check out HarperCollins CA. Maybe we can find that out together before I go. So let's go back to this. If you stay to the right and go straight up from the Miles Goodwin book, there's Nature of the Beast. And then you can make your way back over to the left. And in the same spot on the left, you'll see Harder, Faster. That's the first album. I think that's the first album I bought. Now, if you go down from there, you'll see the Stand Back. That's an album I never listened to. Never got into that. Have only heard it recently. Then if you, I'm sorry, let's go back to the left. Right there underneath Harder, Faster is Live at El Macambo. So I was very fortunate one night. I want to tell you this story. This ties in. I was very, very fortunate. Let me just go ahead and do this real quick. I was just telling this story today, as a matter of fact. While I'm doing that, let me grab something back here, because we can. Isn't that why? That's why we do it, because we can. I want to make sure I grab these. Let's see. Not that one. These. Okay. So many years ago, I had to work on a night. I worked retail, and I had to work the night that April Wine did 2 shows at what was the In the Round Westport Playhouse. So having to work, I didn't buy tickets. And by then I also had already done some interviews and met some people. Again, spoiled. You get that way. You just want to meet the band. It's not necessarily enough for you just to see the band. You're like, well, I want to chat with them too. I mean, that's what I do, right? So I get done with work, and they had a load-in door. So it was in the round. I'll see if I can find any old pictures of it, and I can show you. But you would enter into the theater. There were a big bunch of glass doors. You walk in. There's a big area there. That's the lobby where people can go in and wait, and then they'll open the doors, and then you step in, and then there's seats just all the way around the round stage, which also rotated. So it was a really cool place to see a show, and the band would rotate around and you'd be able to see them from the front. It was really cool, no matter where you sat. And there wasn't a bad seat in the house. It didn't go so far back. So, but then straight across So there was basically 4 ways down, right? At every 4, split it in 4. But all the way across was the door that they would use to bring in the gear from back underneath the parking deck. So I showed up there. It was raining. It was a nasty night. I get done with work. I go to the venue. They'd started their second show, and I stood at the back door, and I could hear the music through the door. So then I see a security guard, and I go over. And I'm like thinking, I don't know what I was thinking. I just was thinking, I don't know. Maybe I can talk to this guy. He can give me an in. You think anything, right? So I follow him, and to no avail. There's, he makes his way somewhere, and I don't even know where he went. So I'm like, yeah, forget it. I'll just leave. And as I walk out the doors, I look down next to this big, it's a big planter that was out front, and there's a trash can right next to it. And I look down on the ground. Again, it's raining. Yay. And I look down, and on the ground are 2 tickets. And I pick them up, right? I'm like, okay, 2 tickets. I'm looking, April wine. And then I look at the time. I'm like, these are probably from the first show. They're no good anymore. Nope. It says 9 o'clock show. I was like, why are these just laying here in the rain on the ground? So I walk into the box office, and I'm like, are these still good now? And she said, yeah. I'm like, oh, so I can just go in. She's like, yeah. So I use one of the tickets, walk in, sit down, catch the whole last like 45 minutes to almost an hour of the show, of the second show. And it was brilliant. It was awesome. It was great to see it. And then I walked, I didn't know who all was still in the band at the time. You're looking and you're thinking, this has been years later. This is when they did the Attitude album, I do believe, is when this was in the which would be in the 90s. And so I come to find out it was Jim Clench was back on bass. He was one of their earlier members in their recording career. And Brian Greenway was there. Miles Goodwin was there. Jerry Mercer, the drummer, was there. So a lot of the people that I grew up listening to were there. So I followed them up. They came out of the venue, and I waited, and me and a few other people, and the hotel was there too. So they'd just come upstairs, go up the escalator, and walk down the way between all these shops and stuff, and get to the hotel. So that we just followed them along. Miles didn't show up. I don't know where he went, how he got where he got, but Brian Greenway, Jim Clench, Jerry Mercer, all were there. And I had brought records with me, of course. I still, when I look at these, I guess I just figured I was going to meet up with them. So there's Live at El Macambo. That's the thing that's right. When we get back to the picture, you'll notice that it's right underneath Harder, Faster. So there's Brian Greenway and Jim Clench there. Signed that. And I don't know why I didn't get Jerry Mercer's signature on this. But this was an album that came out. There's a really neat, you know what? I'll let you watch the show. If you look at the cover, there's a whole story on the back here, but they'll kind of tell you about that in the show. I don't want to ruin that for you. It's because this is really worth watching. All right. This part right here is about my story, not about me ruining the film for you. And then of course, First Glance, which is, I did not get the original cover. I have seen the original cover. I wouldn't mind having the original cover if I could find it, which I've never really tried. But First Glance is the album that has Roller, and it also has the title track to the movie, Rock and Roll is a Vicious Game. They have 2 really, really good ballads on here. that's one of them. Rock and Roll is a Vicious Game, which is basically April Wine's answer to Shooting Star by Bad Company. And oddly enough, they came out about the kind of the same time frame. April Wines was just a little bit later, but yeah, it was. And then the other one is Coming Right Down on Top of Me. I'd really like to do that song in my band. So we'll see how that goes. But anyway, Brian Greenway, Jerry Mercer signed this one. So there's Jerry with hair. You've seen Jerry for years with no hair, and then Brian Greenway here, still with us. So that was cool. And then of course, I don't know why I didn't have Harder Faster with me, but I didn't. No big deal. Oh wow. So Steve Siegel was with the band at that time, because he autographed this one. So he must have done some work on this album, produced by Mike Stone and Miles Goodwin, of course. Nature of the Beast. This was a brilliant record. Sign of the Gypsy Queen, All Over Town, Telling Me Lies, Just Between You and Me, Wanna Rock, Caught in the Crossfire was a great, like, I don't know, it was just a fun hard rocking tune about being in a galactic trouble where you're trying to keep yourself alive, and getting caught in the crossfire, caught in a new age war. How about that? Future Tense, Big City Girls. What a great song. Crash and Burn. There's actually a little bit of them playing Crash and Burn live in the movie. Bad Boys and One More Time. This album just will never, if you don't have it, get it. If you've never heard it, do it now. Just leave my show and go listen to it, or just have it on in the background. So worth it. So worth it. Nature of the Beast. That's also the night when I went to a record store and they had a promotional piece of April Wine that they were going to give me from the record store. I'm like, you have any promo stuff? And they were going to give me a piece of promo stuff from that album. And that's when I got my Iron Maiden piece, which I'll show you sometime down the line here. So anyway, April Wine's film, it's very, very good. Let's get back to that picture, as a matter of fact, while we're at it here. So yeah, if you look there to the left of the monitor, you'll see the green and blue label of the Aquarius album there. That's the Aquarius Records. But then the purple, that's the original First Glance album cover. And then if you look at the very top, towards the middle, you'll see that picture that I just showed you from First Glance. They kind of reused it for this Greatest Hits album, which was okay. It kind of, I didn't like it because it had I don't like it when they put out these best of records or greatest hits, and then they put short versions, the single version of their hit song or their popular songs. Like that has the short version of Roller on it, I do believe. However, it's really strange that it has the long version of I Like to Rock. Is it I Like to Rock? Yeah. It's kind of weird. We'll just switch those out. So anyway, you know what? Let's do ourselves a favor here. You see this Harper Collins. Let's just go ahead and have a little fun. Let's see about Harper Collins. Was it .com? I think. And let's go to all HarperCollins publishers. So let's see what they've got. Let's see if they have Miles Goodwin. Because you know, I'm a little embarrassed that I didn't know. Oh, you know what? It helps if you spell their name right. Nothing. Wow, really? Wow. I don't know if they're going to be republishing this or not. I don't know, but it's not bringing up anything. It brings up nothing. But if you go to Amazon, it's brutal how much this thing is going for. I don't know. It's ridiculous, as they say. Um, so that's about that. The other one then that I'm getting ready to watch is uh, the Miracles Out of Nowhere, which is the Kansas story. It's cool so far. They've got it, and some of these interviews are from a while back, and this movie may still be from a while back. But I don't, because they have Robbie Steinhardt footage on there, Steve Walsh footage on there, Carrie, Phil, Dave Hope, and then I'm sure I watched just the beginning of it, and they're just talking about being in Kansas and living their lives there early on and how they got together. So yeah. Let us take a look over here and see what we've got. I did a little bit of shopping at a thrift store yesterday and found some cool DVDs, things that I'm going to pass on to some friends and family, like this. How about that? Although this may stay with me because it's in the hard shell. So this I may keep. I have the one that's in the cardboard case. A lot of people just don't even want to associate with this film. The original Punisher with Dolph Lundgren and Louis Gossett Jr. Yeah. So Louis Gossett Jr., of course, I mean, all over the place back in the day. Iron Eagle, among tons of others. Yeah, the Punisher. I just watched this not too long ago. Look at that. If society won't punish the guilty, he will. Now look at this. I am getting ready for grandkids. So I found this, and again, it's always buyer beware. And I didn't check it out. So, but all 3 discs were in this one. I found this. This is right before I left. You ever do that? You're getting ready to walk out, and you're like, oh, wait, one more. I better go and check one more thing. So I always forget to check thrift stores for old music. Yeah, right. I was talking to somebody, a coworker of mine, whose parents just bought a jukebox. Evidently, there's a gentleman that's in the south of here who does repair work on jukeboxes and restores them. Well, they bought one, and then they were looking for singles to play in it. Well, I know that they kind of like classic music, and they like country music. And I found all these Christmas singles. So I told my friend, I said, have them check it out, because I said, it's classic stuff and country stuff. If they, I don't have a jukebox, and I don't know what kind they have. But I can imagine it's not easy to switch out all the records. However, if you take some time on a weekend before the holiday and just switch out all the records and put all Christmas music in. But there again, how easy is it to do all the little tags? I don't know. So anyway, right before I left, I looked at one of the other shelf units, and I found some Chippendale Rescue Rangers, Volume 1, and they're all in there. And I was excited about that. And then I pulled out Volume 2, and sure enough, I opened up disc 1. Crickets, nothing there. So buyer beware. Always make sure you check, which, it is what it is. And I'm not worried about it. It's not like my grandkids are ever going to look at me and go, so you don't have disc 1. I mean, if they do, I will promptly turn them around and send them home. But anyway, they had a copy of this. I don't own a copy of this. I did make this. I was like, it was just sitting here yesterday. I did make this, which was the one of these. Actually, it's not on this one either. That's kind of weird. I did make a Rankin and Bass from my VHS tapes. I made a DVD of Rankin and Bass shows. 'Twas the Night Before Christmas, Little Drummer Boy Book 2, and The Life and Adventures of Santa Claus, which, if you remember from our other unboxing, I just got that one too. So there you go. But yeah, Frosty the Snowman. It was cheap. I bought it. They had multiple versions there too. So it was kind of interesting. Let's see what else we got. I know something that are you anybody familiar with this? Street Kings. I mean, listen to this lineup. Keanu Reeves, Forrest Whitaker, Hugh Laurie, Chris Evans, Common, and The Game. Street Kings, their city, their rules, no prisoners. Full throttle thrill ride. How about that? So, yeah, I don't know. I thought I'd give it a shot. Blu-ray and digital copy. So, digital copy is probably no good. But then I bought this for a friend, but she was like, yeah, no. So I'm actually going to take it in tomorrow and give it to another friend who has kids and doesn't think that they have this one, because I love Zootopia. I had such a good time watching this, especially the DMV scene that right there with the, I just loved it. I was watching the preview of that and my daughter was next to me. I'm like, that's us right there. That's us. Then I found this, which is going to be gifted to somebody. Iron Man 2. Blu-ray and DVD. And digital copy, but, digital copy. And then, I don't know if you've ever heard of this movie. I had never heard of this movie, but look at this cast. We're talking Zach Galifianakis, Owen Wilson, Kristen Wiig. I love Kristen Wiig. I love her. And Jason Sudeikis. I love him too, man. Masterminds, inspired by a ridiculous true story. Of course, so was Cocaine Bear. And it was a piece of crap. And it was only only part true because, yes, there was a bear that found cocaine that had fallen out of a plane. And it died. So it didn't freak out and kill people. Look at this. This was kind of fun. I was really excited to get this for 99 cents. Well, 99 cents, right? No, not with 20% off for seniors. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, yeah, I looked on the rack there. 99 cents was special 50th anniversary edition. So what year did this come out? You see, it's time. That's the beauty of it. It came out in 2022. It's almost 2 years old. Came out February 18th, 2022. It says display until then. Sorry, came out before that. So it's 2 years old. Just only 2 years old. So that was great. Eagles, the ultimate guide. Don Henley on the making of every album and the 40 greatest songs. There you go. How about that? Hey, so yeah, I'm very eager to check this out and read through it. If you haven't had a chance to see their documentary, which is very long, it's in 2 parts, because when it ended, I was like, whoa, wait a minute. We haven't even gotten to this other stuff yet. And then I'm like, oh, you're not done yet. Sorry, I'll give you a minute. All right. And the last thing I purchased, just because it was in the box of singles and I love this song. And then I found out the B-side is a true B-side. It's not on the record. It's unreleased on an album at the time. So I don't know if it is on something now, but Billy Idol's Cradle of Love. Hi. See, that's pretty cool. And on the backside is 311 Man. There you go. I'm just trying to check. Let's check the credit on that too. Billy Idol and Mark Younger Smith. So, but yeah, it says on here, bonus track, not available on LP, CD, or cassette. How about that, Billy Idol? Now the other thing, if hey, and like I say, if anybody's got any questions, throw something at me. We got open chat time. We can talk about anything. I will say one thing more about kind of how today went. Always keep your eyes and ears open, because you just never know when everything happens for a reason, and it's strange how everything kind of intertwines. In class today, I made a joke in earth science, because Eartha's kid, because some student was talking about a Earth and the kid, and I was like, oh, like Eartha's kid. Yeah, you don't have to laugh. I know you don't want to, but maybe you do. So I was like, and then I look, and it's her birthday today. There's Eartha Kitt was born on this day. I mean, birthday. She's not with us anymore, but still, it was really, really odd. Also, I saw a Michael Jackson single yesterday when I was looking through those singles at the store, and the same student made a joke, a Michael Jackson joke today, and I was like, dude, so strange that you just said that. Oh yeah. Never seen that one, but have heard of it. Always like Wig too. Yeah. So I'd never even heard of that movie. It was just kind of weird. The one that I really, really, really enjoy, just because it kind of, there's a part of it that kind of reminds me of my dear friend, is The Secret Life of Walter Mitty that she is in with Ben Stiller. I really think that's a charming film. I love it. Sean Penn is in it as well, and so there's other character actors in there that you've seen, and you can sometimes find it at a dollar store, so it's worth watching. I bought it on Blu-ray, I think, at the dollar store. Did any of the kids get that joke? Yeah, I don't. The one did, actually, because they're so into all the old classic stuff. It's kind of crazy when that happens. It's kind of like the young guy who I worked with when I was doing food service at an assisted living place, and he starts singing Exiles, Kiss You All Over. I'm like, okay, wait a minute. How do you even know that song? Not that I was blaming him for knowing it, or like, only I could know that. Are you too young to know that? Not any of that. Just like, how does that happen? I mean, when I was on stage with my friends playing, oh, no, we are not old. We are classic. They don't call it old rock. They call it classic rock. I like the Walter Mitty remake as well. Yeah, it was so charming, so fun. The guy in the bar singing that song, and he's like, sing with me. And I just loved it. I love that. Oh man. I there's a I guess I relate to it as well, where you're like, yeah, dude, you're doing it. You're making things happen. You're not worried about things right now. You know what's important, and you're moving and you're doing it. So anyway, let's see, where was I? I don't know where I was. I'll watch this again later and go, oh yeah, I forgot to answer that. I do it a lot. It's part of my charm. No. Miss So, I love when you do this. I love it. I do notice many younger folks getting into stuff. Yeah. Oh yeah. That's what I was saying. Thank you. Yeah. When I was doing this gig, we were playing on a trailer, right? Sometimes bands do that. They bring in a trailer. It's got power on it, and and then you just play, and you're on the truck trailer there. So, so we're doing that, and these little kids, we start playing Iron Man by Black Sabbath, and these little kids are like dancing and jamming, and I'm like, and my guitar player, I think he looked at me and he's like, how do they even know this song? I'm like, Guitar Hero. That's what it is. Guitar Hero, rock band. They play it, and it's in their video games. It's kind of interesting. I do notice many younger folks getting into stuff we are into. They discover it on YouTube or other apps. Yeah, and old shows. Absolutely. Especially when some of their favorites, it's like anything else. When their favorites are telling people about their influences, then they're like, oh, whoa, what? Wait, what? And if you like, and again, YouTube, if you like this, here's some other suggestions. I was telling a friend of mine, though, it was kind of weird. Just got a new phone, so I switched over, and so I wasn't signed in to YouTube, so I get all these suggestions, which are like, God, it's really scary. Children who murder or whatever, and their reaction to finding out they are, spending life in prison. You're like, why do you think that I want to see that? Why do you think anybody wants to see that? That's my thing. I'm like, what? Who goes, oh, this is a good idea. What do you want to watch this? No, I don't want to watch that. Well, I don't know. I would like to watch it. I thought maybe you would. No, I don't. So you saw the vinyl confession stuff that I had been doing recently. Stopped by I stopped by the awesome shop up in Springfield, Illinois, called Dumb Records, and please make your way there. If you're in the Midwest and you're going through Illinois, make your way to Springfield, Illinois. Stop by Dumb Records, right downtown, not too far from the Capitol building there, and check it out. It's a great little shop. That's the beauty of it. It's not huge, but I mean, I found a stack. You saw it. I went through it with you. The stuff that they do, it's just amazing. What was this? I can't get into some of the stuff like for example, modern cartoons. Yes. Yeah. Unless it's South Park or something. Yeah. Yep. Springfield is several hours away from me. Not a quick drive. Although, Miss, so you have heard me say it on this show before, though, especially when I'm interviewing. I think when I interviewed Liam from Hell's Addiction, I made mention of the fact that it was how Europeans view it differently than we do, driving. When I was like, well, I want to go up there. And my friend from the Netherlands was like, that is too far. And I'm like, what do you mean? It's only 4 hours. Oh, yes, that is very far. I'm like, okay. All right. So I'm like, it's really not. I mean, I'll do it. I'm not worried about that. We do that in a weekend here. I got a lot of those going on today. I don't know what that's all about, but it's kind of funny. Anyway, so I bought the vinyl. Then I also remembered that you can go on to Discogs. If you've never been to Discogs, do yourself a favor. It's got all the information that you need. All right. I'm lying. Maybe it doesn't have all the information that you need, but it has all the information that you need on all the vinyl. Okay, maybe not all the vinyl, but all the vinyl. And then not only that, but it tells you, I have some stuff back here that's like singles that nobody knows about this, It's not going to be listed out there somewhere. It's a random single, 12-inch single or something like that. Nope, it's out there. There's oftentimes they'll have pictures because I think it's kind of a community thing. Like I've got a Judas Priest single from Hellbent for Leather. So it's got to be out there. And so I thought, and then also when you find something that you like, you're like, ooh, I wonder if they have that on vinyl. So you can look it up and it'll say right at the top of the page when you see a listing for that record. So you can look by the band. Let's just say you're looking for the band, The Knack. Let's just say you're looking for The Knack or Scorpions or whatever. And then it'll bring the band up and then it'll have their whole catalog with a little tiny thumbnail next to it. And then you click on that and then it brings up pictures, oftentimes, of the front cover, back cover, inside jacket, If it's a CD, it'll have all the different pages that are in the booklet. A lot of times, not all the time, but a lot of the time. So it's kind of cool. I have to admit, I like it in case you need the cover for something. Maybe the cover got water damaged or something, and then you can go out there and you can get the artwork and you can pull that and get it, just print one, right? But it'll tell you that there's how many listings for this album starting at this price. So click on that and it'll bring up the store for that one, the listings. And so then you can peruse through there. You can do it by lowest price, all kinds of different things, A to Z, Z to A, you can, whatever. But then on the side, you can click on vinyl, CD, whatever you want, if you don't want it to have all of them. That's how I ended up with a copy of Boomtown Rats, Fine Art of Surfacing on cassette, which it's fine. Everything happens for a reason, right? I love that record. If you've never heard it, it is produced by Mutt Lange, and it came out in 1979. It has I Don't Like Mondays on it. But again, not a clunker in the bunch. Every song is great. So I went out there and I was just talking about this band the other day with a friend, and this band has to now go by the name Southern Creed, and this is in great condition, as they said. So I have to give them a good rating. And this is a band called Creed. They're from down south, and this was a major label release. You see, it's on Elektra Asylum Records here, and it is produced by David Malloy. And I was trying to see if there was anybody on here that you may know, but yeah, it's got Chip Thomas, Steve Ingle, Hal Butler, James Flynn, and Luther. Really, it's always the last name. Why? Luther Mabin, and a brilliant record called Creed, and it is from 1978. I always was thinking it was 79, but it is 78, and it's on the side. Yep, 1978. So a great piece. This is very Southern rock, but it's almost Southern rock jazz fusion, because it's got some really cool keyboards. And I'm not talking like keyboards like a Hammond B3. I'm talking about like lasery kind of keyboards. But a great record. Just Can't Stop is one of the great songs on it. Firecrackers, another one. I mean, again, not a clunker in the bunch. I love every song on this record. It is a great record. Keep on Rocking, Tied Down, Firecracker. You never see it that way. We're Gonna Make It. Just Can't Stop. Too Proud to Cry. Not Ain't Too Proud to Cry. This is Too Proud to Cry. And Can't Find Love, and Time and Time Again. Not the Asia version. So Creed, check it out if you can. It's a wonderful record. You will love it. All right, so that's one of the unboxings there that I just got yesterday. Showed up after 9 o'clock last night. That was crazy. All right, so this one is from Music Freak 73, from Plainfield, Indiana. How about that? So check out musicfreak.73 through Discogs if you want. You can check that out. I got to remember what I got here. This is it was like the more you bought, the better the deal. So look at this. Thank you. Happy listening. You gotta love that, right? Oh, Fragile. You gotta love that. So, Miss So, what are you saying? You're gonna go. You're next. Well, I got a buddy of mine. Oh, I got a buddy of mine that's there. That's crazy. I kind of remember Creed. Yeah, I mean, if you've ever heard it, did you get the Avengers? Oh, yes. It's a Marvel bag That's for sure. Because we have X-Men and we have Avengers. Spider-Man was maybe going to be in the Avengers. Spider-Man was maybe going to be in the Fantastic Four years ago. But I found it at a thrift store. Was it at Savers that I found it? I mean, it was one of those things where I was just like wandering the store, and there it was. And it was like the perfect size for vinyl. And I'm like, but I don't know that I thought about that at the time. I don't think I thought about that at the time. But I immediately did think about that later, because I was like, wait a minute. This there was no way I was going to pass it up in the first place. It was so inexpensive. I don't even know what it cost, but obviously I'm cheap. So, but yeah, this is that plastic, the plastic with the cardboard inside, and it's got pouches, so you can put things in here. Like I could have put the DVDs in here and whatever else inside. So anytime I'm not going to leave without this bag anymore, because I could just shop in this bag. And then when I fill the bag, then I'm done. Stop it. Just don't anymore. Just buy no more. Pick up no more. So my mind wanders back to comics. I know, right? We're going to be talking about comics on here. And that's going to come soon. One of the characters I really want to deep dive into with you guys is one that bothers me. And so one that I think was totally mistreated in during this MCU time. And so Miss So, if you know what that character is, write it in here. Okay, didn't see Wolverine. I know, right? He snuck in there, right? He snuck in there. Yeah, I love it too. And actually, I got one of those shoulder bags, the pull string things. I got one of those too that has Marvel characters on it. So that would be good but I don't know what I'm going to do with that one. I like to collect shopping bags. I'm kind of done doing that, but I do it. I buy multiple ones, like at the dollar store, because it's so inexpensive. And then I just give them as gifts or gift bags. And so, it's kind of nice. A lot of things like that, I just do it because, you can give them away. It's a fun way to do it, especially if people have favorite characters. Then you can give them a gift of their favorite character in a bag with their favorite character. So it's a thing. The thing. So anyway, I also have a buddy of mine named Patrick Quinlan. And he and I are going to be working on some voiceover stuff together. And we're going to be putting together some stuff. I got a couple of characters that he would like me to voice. And it's going to, it might take me a minute. I'm going to work with him on it. He does a really good job. He and I both, we are not the same age. He's much younger than I am. And yet he knows of these comic book with the records, like Power Records back when I was growing up. Power Records came out, and they would have some of them were new stories, and some of them were classic comic books, like Spider-Man with the Man-Wolf, and also Captain America and the Falcon was an actual comic book. And the Hulk, when he took on the Abomination and the Rhino, that was an actual book. The Fantastic Four, it's their first comic book. So they did all these, but oh my God. I mean, they were thrown together. They were not played out. So they're very tacky. And you can watch them. You can watch them out there. I'll see if I can put a link in here. But just look up, YouTube, Power Records, Captain America, Star Trek, Superman, Spider-Man, Hulk, Fantastic Four. What else? Batman. I have a Batman one. And there's some classic stuff out there. But yeah, check those out. And then do yourself a favor and go look up Peter Pan Records, Kojak. Peter Pan Records, a children's record series, that label, put out Kojak because he ate suckers. I don't know. Anyway, I don't know that I ever had this on vinyl. It's a great record. It's one of my favorite 80s pop albums. These were a little tight in here. I'm not very happy about that, but I guess they're okay. Everything looks okay. A great pop record from the mid 80s. Richard Marx, his debut album, which I'm trying to remember who was on that, because he was kind of in league with the Eagles. Oh, I did it, didn't I? He was kind of in league with Eagles, members of Eagles. It's not the Eagles, it's Eagles. Watch their documentary and you'll get it. So anyway, I don't know why they do this. I don't quite understand the record on the outside. I guess it doesn't crease it. I don't know. Seems like it just kind of makes it even bulkier, because then it's, I don't know. Anyway, but in great shape. The album, look at this. Album cover's in great shape. Fell in love with this record when it came out. I had it on, I want to say that somehow I had it on cassette. I don't know. But a great record. Let me see if we can figure that out. I want to remember. He had a lot of producers on here. No. Well, he had Richard Marx and David Cole. David Cole, I think, worked with, is it right? Did he work with Bob Seger? But anyway, the band that had a lot of producers on the album, including Richard Marx, was Vixen when they put out their first album. And yeah, this is from 1987. And I really want to figure it out. It's probably in that Eagles book, the book about Eagles, not the Eagles. It's so silly. Okay, I'm gonna have to look these up. I have to look up what Miss So is saying. I love it. Let's see here. So there's more in here. So Richard Marx, such a great record. I think this has Endless Summer Nights, right? Yeah. So Should Have Known Better is my favorite song on the record. Don't Mean Nothing. Endless Summer Nights, Lonely Heart, Hold On to the Nights, Have Mercy, Remember Manhattan, The Flame of Love, Rhythm of Life, and Heaven Only Knows. So there you go. That Humberto Gatica also was a producer on this record, on some of it. I'm not going to worry about putting the big plastic on there. Let's just pull these out, and then we can wrap up this unboxing. And oh, look at the time. We're doing good. We're doing good. All right. So, well, that's interesting. They threw in a bonus record. Oh my gosh. And I wonder why they did. That's kind of interesting. I love it. I'm happy to have this, because I did a deep dive on these guys not long ago. Now, here's an album that I did own. I don't think it was on my list. I don't think it was on my Mava list, but I know I had it on vinyl because it came out when I was in high school, and I owned it. Night Rangers, Dawn Patrol, their first album. And of course, when this came out, they were, it was a big success straight away. Brad Gillis was playing guitar for Ozzy after Randy Rhoads died. He hired Brad Gillis, and they did the live album together with Pete Way. And then, because this was coming out, then Brad made the, what's the word I want to say? He pitched the idea of Night Ranger opening for Ozzy on tour, and he would play both gigs. But the Ozzy camp didn't see it that way. Now here's an album that was a band that I just bumped into the other day, and then started listening to it on Spotify, called Werewolves. Kind of fun. It's a fun record. It's not it's not super groundbreaking, but a good record all the same. In fact, I'm truly interested to know who produced this album. Let's see if we can figure that out very quickly. Producer Andrew Loog Oldham for Because Productions. Why are you doing that? Because. That's a great name for your production company. Okay. Why? Because. It's one of those days, right? It's a scramble. Yeah. So anyway, Werewolves. Check them out. It's very pop. Just kind of, But look at this. Somewhere I've never traveled from Ambrosia. I did not order this. And there you go. Hopefully I checked my order and this got put in instead of something else. God forbid. God forbid. Yeah, look at that. I don't know. It's not in great shape. That I can see. I mean, you can see the jacket is, pulling up. I'll have to re-glue that. But Ambrosia is such an amazing band. If you've never done a deep dive into Ambrosia, do yourself a favor. It's so worth it. And just, I don't know. I don't know how to say it. I just want to know what's on this one, because I know I've listened to all their stuff. Interesting. Okay. Somewhere I've never traveled. Yeah, I know I've heard this, but I don't recognize any of the songs. It's from 1976. I don't know who. Let's check who produced it, shall we? Whoa. Okay. Check this record out. Check it out, because this album was produced by Alan Parsons. So in 1976, Alan Parsons was pretty new. He did engineering work on Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon. And the first album, I have it up there on vinyl, is the first Alan Parsons Project album was the Tales of Mystery and Imagination, Edgar Allan Poe. It just was a stellar album, and probably one of the things that led me to understand everything that was happening in the Fall of the House of Usher that they just put out, that series. If you haven't seen it, it's really good. I really enjoyed it, and I started realizing that people around me weren't uber familiar with Edgar Allan Poe. I'm like, oh, that's this and that's that and that's and they're like, I don't know anything about that. I'm like, what? Really? How do I know all this? I don't know. Oh, my mom and I loved Marx. He was dreamy. My mom loved the pretty big haired singers in the 80s. Yeah, they had it stacked. She had a crush on the singer of Whitesnake. Well, yeah, I mean, David Coverdale. I've always said that David, I don't know why David Coverdale doesn't just do voiceover stuff. I mean, he's brilliant. He's got that very earthy British tone, and it's just amazing. I love the redhead gal. Yes, of course, Tawny Katane. Yes, Tawny Katane. Yeah, you figured it out. Lance, what's up, buddy? So yeah, let me go to this too. I want to make sure that I cover this. Thank you very much, Lance. Yes, hit that like button, and then and do subscribe to this and any other channel that you really dig. It's very important. Importante. Let me go to this. I'm also, you can do, let's see. I'm trying to, you can do magic. I'm assuming that's the same. Anyway. Yeah. So here, let me just tell you this. Let me revert back. This was released on the 11th. It's an article. Rock and Roll is a Vicious Game. New documentary explores the history of April wine. And it's been a little more than a month since maritime musician and longtime April Wine lead singer Miles Goodwin passed at the age of 75. A new documentary about the group has since been released and is sharing the band's history. Rock and Roll is a Vicious Game. The story of April Wine claims to be the most complete and thorough documentation of April Wine and Miles Goodwin there is. One of the band's founding members, Jim Henman, first met Goodwin more than 60 years ago. One of the band's founding members, he was 15 and I was 16, and I had just moved from Clam Harbor, Nova Scotia, he says. I was the only guitar player in Clam Harbor down on the eastern shore, and he came running through the woods and said, "I hear there's somebody who plays guitar," and that started it. Goodwin and Henman, along with Richie Henman and David Henman, then formed April Wine and moved to Montreal in the early 1970s to pursue their musical dreams. So April Wine, Miles Goodwin would always profess, started in 1969. After the release of their first album, Jim Henman left the band and returned to the East Coast, but says he was still proud to watch the group's massive success. Decades later, Goodwin returned to Nova Scotia as well and wanted to reconnect musically with Henman, who said it was a no-brainer. I didn't even hesitate, he says. I always wanted to be back someday playing music with Miles and writing songs with him. That story and much of April Wine's history is being told in the new documentary made by New Brunswick musician and fan Steve Hennessy. In Camp Belton, we didn't get a lot of bands touring through there, but what we did get was April Wine. So my first concert, like many people, was April Wine. So that left a lasting impression, he says. Whoop. It all went tumbling down. Hennessy spent the better part of last year meticulously piecing it together, using old footage, music, and interviews. I was just totally impressed by the quality and information and the research, Henman says. Hennessy original plan was to present the video to Goodwin, but he didn't get a chance to before he died on December 3rd, 2023. Hennessy now hopes his documentary will help Goodwin's legacy live on. Hopefully, this documentary offers the viewer a little more insight into the incredible body of work that Miles and his bandmates left us, he says, and at the same time, maybe help console and comfort those of us that are still in mourning through the healing powers and magic of music. Documentary is available to stream on YouTube. So there you go. It does start off, straight away in the early years, and them working together and writing songs together. And you get to see how some of those early songs that he wrote and played with Henman early on were then recorded later on by April Wine, and sometimes played by other members of the band who came later. So it's really cool. Yeah, Eartha Kitt, dude. I was just talking about that, oddly enough. That she was born on this date 97 years ago. Yeah. So it just wow. And it's weird to think she's been gone for 15 years already. So yeah, oddly enough, I couldn't believe that when I made that Eartha's kid joke. I hadn't seen that yet. So here it was. I was going through who was born today, and there she was. I flipped out. Let me see if one other thing here real quick. on this day. Let's do that. And let's see. And music. Shall we do that? Right. There you go. All right. So, born on this day. Let's see. I'm trying to just see. Sometimes you got to kind of go through these and think about what people would know. I guess I hate to admit it. 71, Kid Rock was born. Kid Schlock was born. Should I say? I just don't. I'm not into that. But the drummer John Wasaki was born in 1971 as well on this day. So Kid Rock and John Wasaki are both born. He's the drummer with Stained. Let's see. Shabba Ranks, Jamaican dance hall musician. Mr. Loverman was the reggae fusion hit that they had. Andy Rourke of the Smiths was born in 1963. And let's see. Dave Collard of Joe Boxers was born on this day. John Crawford, the bass player from Berlin. I played a Berlin tune on the radio when I was where Take My Breath Away was featured in Top Gun. Susanna Hoffs was born in 1959. Was American singer, guitarist, songwriter, author. She's with the Bangles. Just gorgeous. She was the one that just blew me away when she did that eye thing. That was just too much to take. I am but a man. One man. Jez Strode, the drummer from Kajagoogoo. Too shy. And Paul Young, who passed away. They don't, it's kind of interesting to me that when I read this about Paul Young, was born in 1956. And the year prior, Steve Earle was born. And I was looking on here about Paul Young. They usually say for pretty much everybody else on this list, they're like, oh, and they passed away on this date. They didn't mention anything about Paul Young passing away, which was a long while ago. It's kind of weird. Jazz singer Cheryl Benteen from the Manhattan Transfer. That's a big favorite around our house. Let's see. Sheila Hutchinson, who worked with the Emotions. And Mick Taylor, who was a part of the Rolling Stones, was born on this day in 1949. He had quite the career. He was a member of John Mayall's band, the Stones, played on Let It Bleed, Sticky Fingers, It's Only Rock and Roll, Exile on Main Street. Taylor had also worked with Bob Dylan, Mike Oldfield, Joan Jett, Jack Bruce, and Ronnie Wood. I mean, what a great career that would have been. Or that was, Dennis Marcelino was in the Tokens, who did The Lion Sleeps Tonight, born in 1948. And let's see, Robin Lumley, who was a British jazz fusion musician, keyboardist, and a producer, was in Brand X with Phil Collins, and also worked with David Bowie as a touring musician. He just passed last year, as a matter of fact. William Hart was part of the Delphonics. We're getting back now. We're diving in. And Eartha Kitt, 1927. My first gig, Bryan Adams said, was David Bowie on the Diamond Dogs tour in Ottawa, Canada. Let's see, what else? Charlie Watts, my first record was Jerry Mulligan's Walking Shoes. Let's see. Quotes. I'm not going to worry about that. Adam Ant's first band were called Bazooka Joe and his Rhythm Shots. That's a factoid. So anyway, so that's that. I'll just check this on this day in music. Let's see what we have. And kind of Yeah, I'm not getting into all that. Here you go. 2011, Don Kirshner American music publisher, talent manager, and songwriter Don Kirshner, who helped launch the careers of Neil Diamond, Bobby Darin, Carole King, Neil Sedaka, and the Monkees, and also was the head of his own label that had the Archies in Kansas, died of heart failure at age 76 in 2011 on this day. So I noticed he was a big part of that stuff when I was growing up. John Lennon in 2003. What was that? A long lost recording featuring John Lennon and Mick Jagger was set to spark a bidding war. I'm sure. At a London auction. The acetate record was recorded in 1974 with Jagger singing the blues song Too Many Cooks and Lennon playing guitar. The track had never been released because the two artists were both signed to different record labels. Lou Rawls was arrested in Albuquerque Airport in New Mexico after an incident with his companion, Nina Inman. Oh, my God. And I'm not talking about that. I'm not going to talk about that. Kate Bush started a 2-week run at number 1 on the UK album chart with The Whole Story. The compilation album was Bush's 3rd UK number 1 album, as well as her best-selling release. I played Kate Bush's tune "Running Up That Hill," which was in Stranger Things, a big part of that. So yeah, and there you go. Motley Crue. What is this? 1981. Motley Crue formed when bassist Nikki Sixx left the band London. I didn't realize he was in London. I forgot about that because London is featured on The Decline of Western Civilization, Part 2, The Metal Years. London is a big part of that. And began rehearsing with drummer Tommy Lee and guitarist Greg Leon, who later left. Sixx and Lee then added guitarist Mick Mars, Bob Deal, Mick Mars, and Vince Neil accepted an offer to join after turning them down in April of this year. Simple Minds in 1978 made their live debut at the Satellite Club. Barry Manilow in 1976 had a number 1 hit with I Write the Songs, and he didn't write that song. In 1972, Elvis Presley, a section of Bellevue Boulevard in Memphis was renamed Elvis Presley Boulevard. The remaining length of the road kept its original name after protests from the Bellevue Baptist Church. They didn't like that. I guess that's about it. Well, the Doors in 1970 played the first of 4 shows at the Felt Forum in New York City. The shows were recorded for the Absolutely Live album. And I have to make mention of this. 40-year-old David Mason recorded the piccolo trumpet solo for the Beatles' Penny Lane at Abbey Road Studios in London. And John Lennon, the Daily Mail, ran the story about local council survey finding 4,000 holes in the road in Lancashire, inspiring John Lennon's contribution to the Beatles' song A Day in the Life. Under the headline, "The Holes in Our Roads," the brief stated, "There are 4,000 holes in the road in Blackburn, Lancashire, or 1/26th of a hole per person, according to a council survey." That's pretty wild. Oh, man. Jimi Hendrix in 1967 recorded a session for Radio Luxembourg's Ready Steady Radio. The band ran up a bar bill of £2 5 shillings, which is about $6.21, which they were unable to pay. In 1966, NBC in the U.S. brought the Monkees series, placing it on their 1966 autumn schedule. There you go. And then also in 1964, hey, that's my year, the Rolling Stones released their first EP, which included You Better Move On, Poison Ivy, Bye Bye Johnny, and Money. It peaked at number 15 on the UK chart. In 1963, the Beatles played at the Cavern Club at lunchtime, and in the evening played at the Majestic Ballroom, Birkenhead. At the Majestic, every ticket had been sold in advance, leaving 500 disappointed fans waiting outside. Yikes. That sucks. All right. So that's about that. All right. Well, we are at that time. So I will bring this up, and then we've learned lots. Yeah, Paul Young and Paul Carrick were lead singers for Mike and the Mechanics. Yeah, there's two different Paul Youngs. The Paul Young I was talking about before is the Paul Young who, I think so, right? I don't know. I'm confused now. Anyway, there's two Paul Youngs. There's Every Time You Go Away, Paul Young, and then there's Paul Young, who was in the Mike and the Mechanics with Paul Carrick, who he was in Ace and did How Long. And I play that in the band. Oh, those eyes. Amen to that, Lance. Right? It would just stop me cold. And I'd just walk like an Egyptian all day. Whatever it would take to bring her to town. No. And of course, what Prince song did they do? The Bangles. What Prince song? Manic Monday, just to let you know, because I gotta go. All right, guys. I'm gonna bring this up, and I will get this started for us. So thank you for being here. Remember, when you step out the door, so let's make sure we're working as a community, and let's not just like say great things about the Cowboys all the time. Good God, they got stomped. But that's okay. I felt badly for them in a way, as a team. That sucks when you got to sit there and keep playing a game that you know you're not going to win. But yay to my Packers. Wade, Jordan Love, awesome. Everybody else on the Packers. What a great game. All right, folks. Everybody, enjoy your evening. Take